where I'm going to be digging is on a hill. Just had time the last time I was there. I started digging about 8 inches into the bank and I started finding stuff. I look upon it as rescuing things, and this is the wonderful thing about it for me. I mean, I like every process to do with this hobby. I think it's the perfect hobby because you get a good workout. I mean, you're digging. It's pretty tough work. You have to dig for quite a few hours sometimes. You know, you'll hit a seam, and when you hit a seam, you think yes. You just start seeing compacted stuff, and there's bits of broken crockery, and there are bottles sticking out. And it's, to me, incredibly exciting.
Bottle digging is a hobby combining the excitement of a treasure hunt with the hard work of digging in the hope of finding rare, everyday objects. Bottles, thrown away to be buried for decades, or even hundreds of years, only to be dug up and found by you.
I just want to check on areas where things could have got stuck, but ultimately things are going to be down the bottom, I think.
At first, the site is scoured over with a spade on the surface. This reveals clues to where the bottles may be hiding.
There's definitely stuff around here, but inevitably over the years it gets down to the bottom, but I just wanted to check whether it could have got stuck. Something here. That's a whole one. Another tablespoon one. We'll take it. Nothing to get excited about, except for the fact that it shows that there are bottles here. What I really want to find, and this is ridiculous that I haven't found one yet because so many other bottle diggers seem to find them on a regular basis, but I want to find a cod bottle, which is nuts because I still haven't found one after all these years, but then I haven't been doing it intensively enough really. But cod bottles are the bottles that have a marble inside. I've pinched next where the marble would be in there. So we're in the territory.
The innovation of placing a marble inside a bottle to act as a stopper was made by Hiram Codd in 1872. The pressure created by the mineral water kept the marble in place within a rubber ring in the neck. The marble was pushed down into the bottle so the contents could then be poured. Lower down the neck of the bottle was pinched in on both sides, creating a place for the marble to lodge. The trouble with this was that children would smash the bottles in order to get the marbles out, which is why so many are broken. Many, though, remain intact. Our quest is to find one.
I've found a broken cod already, so there may be a whole one somewhere. That'll make my day, I tell you, man. So that is that white one's a ginger beer. The other one is a poison. Hence the not to be taken. And the ribs on it. So I put these ribs on. This one actually says poison on it. They don't always have that. So that when you're in the dark, you're feeling the bottles, you feel the ribs, you know it's poison. I've lost my bloody fork.
digging starts in an old, disused quarry, known to be a past dumping ground. The chalk makes digging quite a challenge.
Same age as cod, late 1800s. Will we find a whole one? There's bits of them everywhere. Well, although I haven't dug one up yet, got this off eBay just to show you how it works, really. So the marble is goes in the top of the bottle like that, and there's this little rubber bung here which has ended up at the bottom of the bottle. That would have been in the neck of the bottle, which would have held the marble in initially. And they used to sell these little sort of wooden paddles with it that you just punch the marble in when you bought it, and then the marble gets behind these pinch bits, and then you could drink the mineral water and the marble would stay there. And all that complexity of design was purely to keep a relatively small amount of liquid inside a bottle. There's no other bottle that's had anything like that sort of complexity of design, purely to keep contents inside it carbonated and unable to come out prior to the screw tops. And this one is it's a similar looking bottle. They're pretty indistinguishable in terms of their embossing and the thickness of glass and the size and everything, but this one is a later one, which is an internal screw top, where a top like this, which is made of a stuff called ebonite, which is kind of very tough, sort of, yeah, I'm not quite sure it's called ebonite, but it's kind of very tough rubbery, but that would be going in there like that, which is much more akin to the bottles we have today. Seems so obvious. If they could do all that, why couldn't they just do that? It seems so strange that they did all this complex rigmarole. But I'll tell you, I'm mighty glad they did, because it's created a lot of beautiful bottles for people to collect. Well, got something embossed here. I hope it's whole. See that? It's probably going to be a beer of some sort. So let's have a little tickle around it. It's a whole beer and it's got the stopper in. T. Phillips Abbey Brewery, West Malling. We're in the zone. As for competition between bottle diggers, there is some, I would say, because if you find a dump and it's a good one, and somebody else gets wind of it, you're not going to be that chuffed unless they're a mate of yours, of them coming along and they call them poachers. And there's a fair bit of good-natured banter between bottle diggers who refer to someone else as a poacher. There's nothing worse than you go back to a site and you see that someone else has had a right good go at it. And you think, what have they found? What have they taken that I would have had? Now, guaranteed not to be whole, but never mind. See what it is. It's like a large beer. Well, it's whole at least, but Not a great interest, but what a big old beer. It shows us bottles in these hills.
The Ponds is an old 1920s rubbish dump, heavily waterlogged. It has been dug extensively over the years, with spoil mounds littering the landscape.
Other objects you find are clay pipes, and a good sign if you start excavating and you start finding bits of clay pipe, then you know you're onto a good one, because there's clay pipe there's likely to be other things. Pot lids, people certainly look for those because they're always transferred, which had the name of the manufacturer on them. Enamel signs, if you find a good one of those, then that's a nice find. Some are more rare than others. For instance, the cobalt blue cod bottle is extremely rare, and I've seen one go for auction at for £7,500 before. But really, it's not something you do for the money particularly. It's something you do because you love finding stuff that, well, to me, is beautiful. You could always be 2 inches away from the best find of your life. No such thing as a bottle detector. It's not like a lump of metal or something. You've got to you just got to keep digging and hope. Cream jug. Empress Dairy Company Limited. That's not bad. Plenty of cream jugs have got beautiful transfers on them, and this is pretty plain, but at least it's got something printed on it. Oh, it's a viral, earthenware viral. I'm well pleased with that. That's I've only found these in glass before. Really nice. Preparation of bone marrow, an ideal fat food for children and invalids. And of course it shows that if I was in any doubt, then I'm definitely into stuff that no one's dug, because that would never be left behind by anyone, because it's a good one. Hello, what's this? Yeah. It's not the usual shape of these ones. I haven't found one quite that shape. Here's the virol, and here's the glass virol. So you can see the difference. That's why this one's much nicer one to find than that one is. But together, you know, it's a nice thing. And these go in different sizes in the same way that the bovrils do. So they go up, and you can get pretty big virol bottles. And again, there will be collectors who will have all of them, because that's their thing. But they probably wouldn't have found all of them. They would have bought a lot of them. Because a lot of collectors, unlike me, they'll go for certain things and they'll buy and sell and they'll trade and barter stuff, and they found what they found, and they might swap it for something that someone else has found because it fits in their collection better. But for me, I'm not really interested in doing that. I'm only interested in things that I've found, even if it's not, you know, the nuts, even if it's, you know, not the real top end stuff. Although I hope to find that one day, of course. There you have sort of a short list and a long list of bottles that you'd like to find, and obviously the cod and the Hamilton at the top, different colours of them, and cod Hamilton hybrids, ginger beers, nice ginger beers with nice transfers, and then further down there's other bottles you'd really like to get, like you know, good hexagonal poisons, and a Warner's Safe Cure, which is the it's got a picture of a safe on it. That was a sort of some embrocation cure-all thing that was popular late 1800s, early 1900s. And the viral, which I've just got in earthenware, is one of those. So I'm really glad I found that. It's pleased my tiny mind. The other day I was digging, and I've been digging for about 3 hours, getting a bit sick of it, hadn't found anything particularly interesting. And went to another part of the dump under a fallen tree, and was digging away underneath it, and about 10 minutes in I found a tiny little hexagonal poison, about that high, about no more than 1.25 inches high, little ribs on it, and I just thought, yeah, that's made my day, just that little find. So you just need one or two things to make it worth it. Some days you really don't find much, but you usually find something that makes you think, that was the one I came for. Look what I just found. Another one on the long list. Oh yeah. Cobalt blue hexagonal poison. I've been wanting one of these for a long time.
man strong and brave man bigger than a newborn child.
I mean, obviously you find loads of smashed glass before you find a whole bottle. That's the nature of it. And if they were all whole, it would be a boring hobby because it wouldn't be interesting if there were loads of them about. The very fact that they're quite rare is the thing that makes them interesting, which is why I was so chuffed when I got this hexagonal blue poison, which is one of my long list ones. Because if there were 2 a penny, I wouldn't be chuffed about finding it. But I'm very chuffed about finding them because they're not 2 a penny. They're not the most rare of bottles, but they're still rare enough. And it's also to do with the fact that they're this beautiful colour. I think of all the colours that you find, the cobalt blues are the ones I like the most. Because they just look so nice. Just nice little shiny ones like that. And my favourite little blue poison, this one, my boiled sweet as I call it.
In rivers can be found all sorts of old, disregarded items dating way back, including old bottles, possibly cods.
Also rivers, because people chuck stuff in rivers like they do nowadays. There's nothing quite as satisfying as the sound of a bottle going in the water. And people have always done that. So the way you do that, you've got to get your waders on, and you can have a glass bottom bucket which you can just make to peer down into the water to see where you're going, and a rake to just rake them up. Definitely stuff getting stuck here. Seems to be a definite trap here because I've found all these on the bank here. Not that old, but they started to get there. There's a lot of milk bottles, and there's another one. So if I keep digging down here, then maybe there'll be older stuff underneath.
Once again, a broken cod is found. The thickness of the glass is really quite impressive for a bottle used for just containing mineral water.
This one is interesting. Liquozone. British Liquozone Company Limited, London EC, made in USA. And I looked up some stuff on the internet about this. And this is one of the best examples of Victorian quackery. This geezer made this stuff, and this is basically sulfuric acid and sulphurous acid and water. And he reckoned this cured everything from quinsy to diphtheria. And I read on the internet they did some sort of scientific tests and inoculated or injected 36 pigs with anthrax and gave 18 of them liquozone. They all died. Same with the hamsters and gerbils and all the other unfortunate creatures that they inflicted this upon. So, and it even killed a German scientist, I read as well, so there's a little bit of karma there, I suppose. Sometimes think people come along because they know I'm going to come here and put a broken cod down somewhere just to get me excited. That's how paranoid I've become. Anybody can find them, and often people have found stuff. Whenever I've talked about being a bottle digger when you're in conversation with someone in the pub, I would say probably 7 times out of 10 people will say, oh yeah, I used to, I found one or two things. I found this old, and it'll always be a cod that they found. Oh yeah, I just found, wasn't looking for it, just found one. Yeah, when I was a kid, I found one. Yeah, I found one of those. Yeah, they got it at home. Oh, that's nice for you, mate. And I'm thinking, yeah, I've been doing it for years, and I still haven't found one. But 7 out of 10 times, I reckon, people will always have some sort of connection to it. Well, they'll say, when I was a kid, yeah, we used to find stuff like that when we were mucking about, or yeah, my dad found one in the garden when he was digging. And the other 3 people out of the 10 will sort of look at you and think, so you do what? What's your hobby? You dig for bottles? And I go, yeah. All right, okay, yeah. And they think you're a bit odd, really. But when you start explaining it to them, I think that they understand, or at least they pretend to, just to get rid of you. Horn doesn't work anymore. The old odometer, the mileage wheel, little bulb there as well. Choke, broken. I know, there's the choke. It is definitely recent archaeology. People look at the city and it's just a load of concrete, pavement, tarmac. But all it's built on is earth. Same as the countryside, it's more likely to find stuff in the countryside because you're more likely to find dumps that are just dumps and have been left there and they're in woodland or something and nothing has been done there since. It's particularly in the green belt because you're not allowed to build there. Whereas in London, it's a constantly evolving city. So the opportunities you have come about when they're tearing something down and putting something back up. But I think any bottle digger or someone who's interested in anything, historical, metal detectors, archaeologists, will always have that thought in their mind. They're always finding Roman remains in the city of London. You know, they'll go 8 metres down to the foundations or further, and they'll find a Roman mosaic floor, or they'll find a bag of coins that some soldier had stuffed somewhere for safekeeping or whatever, and then was killed or died or whatever. It's all there, it's all around us, it's all under us, all the time. But the opportunities for getting at it are infrequent in London or in any city. Whereas in the countryside, you can generally get on with it undisturbed.
Well, starting to get something. Nice old milk bottle. Clay pipe. And of course a broken cod. But at least there's stuff here. At least there's something here.
The best bit is when I get all that stuff home, you clean it up, sometimes you've got to leave it for days soaking in soda, and then you start seeing all the colours and the beauty and the way that there are all the air bubbles in the glass because of the way they manufacture glass then, and the slight offsettedness of the spouts and the warpedness of the bottles and the strange shapes that they were, because they were by no means symmetrical in the early ways that they used to make them back then. And you've got these wonderful colours, the ambers, the greens, the cobalt blues, the deep browns, and when you clean them up, you put them on the window, and the sunlight shines through them, and you see all the beauty in the glass. It's a wonderful thing, and these are things that you've taken out of the ground, that would otherwise just have stayed there. And I think that's kind of nice. I look upon it as rescuing beautiful things.
The search continues, this time at the top of a very steep bank, thought to be the location of an old dumping ground.
Every kind of shit thrown down here over the years. Layer of ash down there, dark bit. Could have come from someone's
could be an open fire, it could be stuff that's dumped. Quite a lot of the time when you've got ash, you get bottles. Quite often when you get ash, you get bottles, and I've just found this first one, so who knows, we could be onto some bit of pay dirt. It's worth persevering anyway. I was beginning to wonder. All I found is bits of broken ones. I don't know if I'm surprised that I haven't found one. In fact, I'm probably not surprised. Because although I'm pretty optimistic generally, I am a little bit pessimistic about this one, because for some reason I haven't found one yet, when I've been digging around and found things like this, which are pretty contemporary. And as I said before, when you see one of these poking out the ground, pull it out, it's not a cod. Oh well, but it's still quite nice. So I still think I'm 2 inches away from one. Always will be. Until I actually find it, and I will find it. Right, so where we're going now is a place that a friend of mine has told me about, and I've been down there about 3 times, and each time I haven't got the right place. So last night I was out with my brother and him and had a few beers, and he gave us a lift home. So I said, right, take me where it is, show me exactly where it is. So he did. So hopefully we've got the right place, and he found a few bits and bobs there years ago, so I'm hoping that this might be the place that we get that elusive cod. This is it, over there. So that line of trees beyond this little spinney here, or maybe in the spinney we can have a look as well, but basically through this field and beyond there, and that line of trees. As you can see, everything's overgrown, so where we're going to go, it's going to be a lot of stuff growing. Another waste of time. I never get tired of kidding myself that they'll be really obvious. But this time of year, unless you know where it is, you're not going to find it. keep telling myself there's no such thing as failure in bottle digging, because otherwise I would have given up years ago. But no, I don't think there is, because you always find nice stuff if you keep going on and on. And I've built up, you know, stuff that I really like, and I'll always go back again. I think I'll always have the appetite for it, however infrequent it might be. And in the summertime, that's the time when you really can have a rest, because you've got to fight through so many sort of, you know, hordes of nettles and brambles, and the mosquitoes are there if you're in areas where there's water about, which I have been digging in. So you may as well just enjoy the summer. But when autumn comes, when you get the sort of cloudy skies and it starts getting darker in the evening, which is a bit of a downer really, but to me I always think, well, you know, it's a good time of year for bottling at least, because autumn and winter, that's when I like doing it the most. It's good temperature for digging in, because it's colder, and it's much nicer digging in the cold, because you easily warm up when you're digging. So there is no failure, because it's just a hobby about finding bits and bobs, and whatever you find, you make the best of, and you keep the good stuff, and you throw away the stuff that isn't any good, or leave it there. And one day you'll find the stuff, and you get little things like the little virol here, which really please me, and this hexagonal cobalt blue poison, which are both quite recent. So if I keep going, then the collection will build up, and it'll be really nice.
It's fresh and bright and early. I went towards the river, but nothing still has altered, just the seasons leave.
Getting dark now. Starts to get a bit creepy when it's dark around here. Don't like to hang around too long. It's been a difficult day up until about 10 minutes ago, when I found this beautiful, simple, perfect condition ginger beer. Really, really pleased with that. It's not a cod, but that'll come. But this is a step along the way. And bizarrely, I found this tiny little miniature ginger beer shortly after I found this one. So maybe I'll find, next time I'll find a 12-ounce cod and then a 6-ounce cod to go with it. Starting to get a bit down about digging today. It was really seemed to be going nowhere, but now as soon as you start losing faith, it kind of throws something up at you, which you're really pleased with. So yeah, really pleased with that.